There's a part of your body that you might have never heard of, yet is one of the most critical anatomical structures. It's called fascia. It's essentially the connective tissue between all your muscles, bones and organs. It's everywhere, yet historically has been poorly understood. In recent years, however, there's been a huge interest in this peculiar connective tissue and the key role it plays in everything from healthy day-to-day living to Olympic-level sports. You're about to go on a fascinating journey, investigating the role that fascia plays in the human body. Emerging from this story is the idea that we Homo sapiens may be the most domesticated species on the planet, and that perhaps a lot of our problems stem from this unnatural lifestyle.
This presentation is sponsored by Cranial Release Technique.
The World Summit of Integrative Medicine 2015 presents Dr. William Doresti. William C. Doresti, DC, is CEO of Cranial Release Technique, Inc., a national training institute that he founded in 2005. The institute is dedicated to the advancement of the cranial release technique as a vital tool for healthcare practitioners worldwide in promoting wellness and reducing stress in patients and clients.
Welcome to this presentation on the cranial release technique. My name is Dr. William Doresti. I'm the CEO and the founder of the cranial release technique, which we'll probably call CRT, for the concept of the primary respiratory mechanism, this involuntary pumping mechanism of the cranium that all of us have from the time we're born until the time we leave this planet. It was Dr. Sutherland that said it's the system that comes first. It underlies all of life's processes and gives dynamism, form, and substance to all of anatomy and physiology. It's the spark that gives rise to the breath as it moves through the tissues. It's the foundation of metabolism, and it has both an inhalation and exhalation phase. Dr. Sutherland was absolutely convinced that the key to unlocking human physiology was through the head, and I have found that to be as well. So let's dig a little deeper. 2005, I come out with cranial release technique, and I found this slide in a British anatomy text. And virtually everywhere you look at the slide, you see distortion. You see osseous distortion, you see brain tissue distortion, and the caption underneath the slide said in the book, normal cranium. So you and I looking at this, we say, how could that be normal? It's distorted. But yet all we need to do is look at someone and we see one shoulder high, one hip rotated, one foot externally rotated, internally rotated. You and I are looking at distortion all day long. Now I want you to start thinking about cranial distortion. So I put these four words together, craniodural stress syndrome, to sort of explain what it is and the impact of a distorted cranium and what that would have on the rest of the body and the patient's health. So let's dig a little bit deeper. Okay, so Michael is our volunteer, and when we look at Michael, we'll take a look at him from a cranial release standpoint. And always we start from the head. As a matter of fact, I start from the eyes and work down. So let's take a look at Michael's eyes. When I look at Michael's eyes, it's pretty easy for me to see that his right eye is smaller and his right eye is lower. So right eye small, right eye low. When I look at the ears, you can just observe them, but what I like to do is I take my fingers and I actually just place them in the patient's ears, and then I look at that, and it's very noticeable when I do that, that Michael's right ear is inferior and also anterior. So inferior and anterior. When I look at Michael's maxillary arches, I come under the zygomatic arches here. Again, his right arch is lower. And again, in cranial work, and certainly in cranial release technique, we're looking for the smaller, lower, tighter side. That's the more symptomatic side of the body. So we've looked at the cranium, and you say, well, so what? Well, the so what is, if I take my plastic model here, the so what is, what we just did was we looked at Michael's facial bones. We looked at the the one eye small, the one eye low, the one ear inferior, the one ear anterior, the maxillary arch inferior. We looked at all that, and that's now going to translate into a global cranial issue. And that global cranial lesion ends up here at our friend the blue bone, the occipital bone. And at the base of the occipital bone, we have our two friends here, the occipital condyles. And so as the cranium shifts and rocks, so goes the occipital bone, so go the condyles, and therefore so goes the atlas. So being a chiropractor, Michael comes into my office complaining of whatever, and I then palpate his atlas, and it's very noticeable that Michael's atlas has shifted to the left. And from there, Michael, if I could just turn you around maybe, and just face the back. If we look at Michael's shoulders, what you'll see is his right shoulder is elevated. Michael, if you could just put your hands out to the side. His right hip is also elevated. And what I want you to understand here is that from this cranial distortion that Michael is presenting with, you can put the hands down now, Mike, that's then leading to an osseous craniosacral distortion. And we're going to change everything by addressing the cranium. Well, as we just saw with Michael, here's a real skull, and again, everywhere you look at this skull is distortion. You can see here, one eye is lower, the ears are distorted, the external auditory meatuses are distorted. There's distortion everywhere in the cranium. There's distortion at the condyles as well. And if you look inside the cranium, and as my slide shows from Gray's Anatomy, obviously we're protecting the central nervous system, and every one of these little foramen, if you remember back from school, all the cranial nerves pass through, the spinal cord passes through. This is essentially what makes you, you, and me, me. And again, because of this osseous distortion, that's going to negatively impact the physiological function of the central nervous system. And so moving on, if you remember back from school, and as my slide demonstrates again from Gray's Anatomy, the dura mater, the toughest tissue in the body, stronger than bone, white, inelastic, fibrous tissue. But what I never learned in chiropractic school is that the dura blends in and becomes the periosteum of all 22 of the cranial bones. As if the wallpaper on the wall is the dura. And so as this cranium shifts and rocks and distorts, that dura then tightens. And the best analysis I can give you, and what I use with my patients quite often, is a towel. So imagine that this is your dura, beginning in the cranium, ending in the coccyx, and that dura, of course, is covering the central nervous system. And as that cranium shifts, rocks, and distorts from traumas and stresses, things that we'll cover in a little bit, that dura now tightens down, and this person is now going through life with dural tension. And there's no way that your body will function optimally when you have dural tension. Remember, the dura is covering the brain and the spinal cord. So if someone were to say to me, what's the purpose of cranial release? Well, the purpose of cranial release is really to relax the dural tension to optimize physiological function in the body. And so, again, here's a slide showing the dura, covering the brain, covering the spinal cord. And again, that's what we just covered with the towel demonstration. It was Dr. Sutherland that came up with the concept of the reciprocal tension membrane system. And what he said was, whenever there is cranial distortion or cranial lesion, the dura will tighten and therefore will always cause a misalignment of the sacrum. And I found this to be very interesting. I started in chiropractic school in 1982, and I was fortunate enough to have as one of my professors Dr. Larry Webster. And Dr. Larry Webster was a chiropractor in Atlanta, and he questioned as to why so many women were coming in that were pregnant that were presenting with a breech presentation. So let's dig a little deeper. We'll take a look at this slide, a basal view looking up underneath the brain, and we want to speak about our friend the pituitary gland. You know, so many people out there today have what we might call endocrine problems, right? Sugar problems, thyroid problems. I can't lose this water weight. I can't get pregnant. All of these different issues that are happening. But as the cranium shifts and rocks, one eye small, one ear rotated, maxillary arch low, the dura is tightening, that diaphragmacella is tightening, and if you go back to Gray's Anatomy and you review this area, they speak about how the infundibulum pierces through the dura. It's piercing through the dura, which is now pre-tensioned because of the cranial distortion. And with that dura being tensioned, and tension on the infundibulum, and discommunication between brain and pituitary, well, now there's a major foundation for distortion in the body. Thyroid issues, growth hormone problems, adrenal cortex problems, sugar metabolism problems, women that can't become pregnant, women that do become pregnant and then can't produce breast milk. These are all could be secondary to this dural tension if we go to the posterior side of the pituitary, in particular ADH, that's anti-diuretic hormone. That's the hormone that regulates how much water and fluid is in your body. And so I can't tell you how many cases have come in with patients that start receiving cranial release, and all of a sudden they start telling me that they're losing weight. And what they're losing is water weight because the body is now flushing itself. The ADH hormone is coming back into balance. The body is saying, I don't need this extra 8 pounds of water, which is the weight of a gallon of water is 8 pounds. So as the body starts losing that extra water, a lot of people come in and say to me, gee, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm losing weight. And of course, we're not changing their exercise program. I'm not talking to that about, I'm not speaking to them about that. But what's happening is the body is coming back into balance. And that's what we're all about, bringing the body back into homeostasis, balance. Okay, well, we covered already the cranial bones, the cranial dura, the spinal dura, right? The dura which covers the spinal cord. And now let's talk about the 31 pairs of nerves which branch out from the spinal cord. It's as if the telephone system of the body. How the brain will talk to the heart, how the brain will speak to the liver, how the brain will speak to the arms and the legs. The dura mater of the cord has tubular sleeve-like prolongations which ensheath the roots of the spinal nerves together with the spinal nerves themselves within the intervertebral foramina. These dural extensions are continuous distally with the epinorium of the spinal nerve. Now, when I saw that sentence, continuous with the epinorium of the spinal nerve, I got very excited. I had remembered that term epinorium, and I went back to Gray's Anatomy. And if you remember from your anatomy, here's a cross-section of the spinal cord. Everywhere you see the black line is the dura. So the dura, as we're told, ends right here. But as that nerve continues out to the arms, to the legs, to the thyroid, to the liver, the outermost covering of that nerve is called the epinorium. And the epinorium, according to Gray's Anatomy, is the outermost connective tissue covering of the nerve and is continuous with the dura mater. So the dura now is leaving the spinal canal and going out into the periphery and goes out into the sympathetic and the autonomic nervous system, excuse me. And then the anatomy coloring book states that the epinorium becomes the deep and superficial fascia. So that when you're working on a client at whatever portion of their body you're working on, understand you're really working on the tail end of dural tension. If you applied the cranial release first and de-stressed the cranium, restored Dr. Sutherland's primary respiratory mechanism, restored spinal alignment, decreased the tension coming out of the epineurial level, decrease the fascial level throughout the body, the fascial tension within the body. Now you've really changed everything. And then you can certainly go in and give your chiropractic adjustment. You could go in and do your deep tissue massage. You could go in and do your needles if you're an acupuncturist. Anything you're going to do is going to be enhanced by first using cranial release. And then to really sort of cap this all off is the question, how did this begin? When did it begin? Why did it begin? Why is it that virtually every patient you're going to look at will be distorted, will have cranial distortion? And I'm convinced it began at the birth process. And I'd like to speak to you about that right now. Okay, let's speak briefly about the birth process. Here's a plastic skull, a fetal skull. And during the birth process, as the baby is passing through the birth canal, what's happening to the baby's head? Well, it's compression. Compression, compression, compression. The head exits. What should happen now? Well, now it's time for decompression. And that's what kickstarts the primary respiratory mechanism of Dr. Sutherland. So when you talk about modern hospital deliveries today, and you talk about forceps, you talk about the vacuum extraction, you talk about episiotomies, all these different things that could negatively impact this blowout phenomenon. And so in cranial release, we believe the earlier you can get to a patient, the better. Absolutely, the earlier the better. In theory, mommy could deliver a baby and you could apply cranial release right at the time of delivery, after the baby is born, obviously. Better than that, though, would have been to get to mommy while she's pregnant. We want to free up the cranium, de-stress the dura, release the fascia, keep mommy balanced throughout the whole pregnancy, make the labor easier, make the delivery easier, and even better than that would have been to get to mommy and daddy before conception. Then we keep daddy aligned, keep mommy aligned, keep their bodies optimized physiologically, and then when the magic happens, conception happens, and then we have the pregnancy, the labor, the delivery, the birth. All three in the family are receiving cranial release to optimize physiology, and to me that's the big idea about cranial release. Then the questions always come up, hey, what about C-sections? Because of course the C-section, and sometimes it's necessary, I don't want to get in, this is not the time and the place for that, but the C-section of course now is still a traumatic birth, it's still pulling, twisting, it's still major surgery. And of course now the child never gets the compression and therefore never gets the decompression. And the same studies that were done by my instructor back at Life Chiropractic College, Dr. Webster, he found that children born C-section delivery, in general, weaker immune system, more colds, more sore throats, more ear infections, generalized weaker health than children born normal, whatever that means, between the bumps and bruises of a hospital delivery, as opposed to C-section. So regardless of the type of delivery, whether it was natural or whether it was C-section or somewhere in between, cranial release certainly is indicated for all children after delivery or up until the time they come in to see you. So if the child was a difficult delivery and the child's now 3 years old, certainly you want to apply cranial release. The younger the better. Ideally, the sooner the better, ideally. Okay, let's talk briefly about stress and the negative impact stress has on us. It was 1999 when Newsweek devoted its entire magazine to stress, how it attacks the body and what you can do about it. And for anyone out there that studied stress and stress research, we really have to begin with Hans Selye. As you may or may not know, Hans Selye was a medical doctor from Montreal. He won a Nobel Prize in stress research. And one of his famous quotes was that the cause of all disease is unrelieved stress. He also said something else which to me is just as important, And that is that the nervous system, the system that controls every function of our body, the things we're aware of and not aware of, can do one of two things, but it can't do both. And that is, right now, your nervous system is either healing and repairing your body, or it's protecting and defending from a threat, and therefore, when it's protecting and defending, it can't heal and repair. And so, we'll get into this in a little bit, and we'll go through some slides, because at the end of the day, you and I were designed to handle what's called simple stress. The fight or flight mechanism we're all familiar with. Right? We're walking merrily along our way, something causes us to become stressed, our body shifts its physiology, we run from the animal, we run towards the animal, we climb the tree, we do whatever we have to do. The threat ends, we come back to baseline, go merrily on our way until the next stress hit. Well, that was called simple stress. That's how we're wired to deal with stress. We're wired to handle stress. The body's response to stress, the classic fight or flight mechanism, is what everyone knows. And again, at the end of the day, so that we can survive. We can live to talk about it, live another day. Well, now we have the researchers, the new researchers, that are saying, wait a minute, the human body was never meant to deal with prolonged or chronic stress. Well, today's stress never really ends. It's not the classic fight or flight mechanism. It's not the animal or the rival tribe of humans of our ancient ancestors. It's more of the constant, chronic, low-level, and sometimes high-level stresses that we can't escape. And so these stress of modern times, which is called the complex the complex stress, then causes another problem, and that is that our nervous system stays in the fight or flight mechanism. And we now virtually live in the fight or flight mechanism. And again, back to Cellier's discovery, the nervous system's either healing and repairing or protecting and defending. Virtually all of us are going through life stuck in the protect and defend mode. We're not healing and repairing, which means we're aging prematurely. The reason I'm bringing all this up is that cranial release will shift you from that protect and defend mode back towards heal and repair. And we'll do that in 1 minute, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Again, the new research is saying stress is the most widespread problem in America today. It's a major contributing factor in 100% of disease. No one is immune. The Florida Institute of Mental Health, unrelieved stress contributes to family breakdown, chronic health problems like heart disease, high blood pressure, memory loss, depression, even on-the-job accidents and injuries. Well, I'm going to shift gears again with you because we spoke about, the anatomy and the physiology. What about energetics? What about energy medicine of today? You've heard of Barbara Brennan, you've heard of Bruce Lipton, you've all heard of acupuncture, you've all heard of Reiki. Well, cranial release changes the energetics in the body, as reported to me by people, masters in all those different fields. As a matter of fact, we were just at a convention, and I had one of my students that went and took an aura picture, and the aura had its colors. He then came to me, received a cranial release, and I asked him to go back and have another picture done. And when he had the pre and post, the post picture was completely different. All the colors were brighter, stronger, and actually the person who took the aura picture couldn't believe it. The final piece of the puzzle, well, we went through the craniodural stress syndrome. That's the slides we've been going through. Now it's time to apply the global anatomical release. It's time to actually put my hands on Mike's head to change structure, to change function. Remember, at the end of the day, structure determines function. If a patient's structure is distorted, there's no way the physiology will be optimized in the body. And so what we'll be doing is, by changing cranial structure, we'll be changing the reciprocal tension membrane system. You remember, that's the dura mater, the tension in the dura. That will stabilize the spine, release the extremities, release the fascia, rebalance the neurological system, both the peripheral, cranial, and autonomic nervous system. And again, at the end of the day, all of our patients, all the people in your community are looking for improved health and well-being. This is probably the most important poster chart that I use with patients, Mike. And ideally, I'd like you to be in the middle. When you're in the middle, the brain is balanced. When the brain is balanced, the muscles are balanced. When the muscles are balanced, the structure, the bones are balanced. That's the way you're supposed to go through life. Okay? When you're in the middle, remember before we spoke about your body is healing, repairing, and regenerating itself. Your body is constantly rebuilding itself from inside out. Unfortunately, when we're under constant, chronic, low-level stress, as we all are, physical stresses, chemical stresses, emotional stresses, even EMF stresses, the stresses from cell phone, the energy from computers. We're in a Wi-Fi environment here. One of the brain hemispheres becomes overactive. You're figure number one. Your left brain is overactive because of stress. And the reason why I know it's the left is that the left brain controls the right body. It's as if the wires cross over. So left brain controls right body. And what happens there, you can see the distorted picture of posture that happens. Also now your nervous system is now stuck in survive, protect, defend. It's as if you're constantly under threat and your body can't heal properly, your body can't rebuild itself properly, and that's all going to change starting today with cranial release.
那我们做中道自然医学，就是不开药的医学嘛，哈，我们叫自然医学。我们对妥瑞症的理解又是怎么样呢？我个人根据我们这个10多年来的这个治疗妥瑞症的经验，我认为妥瑞症是一种属于外胚层过敏的疾病，它跟皮肤过敏一样，是可以用自然疗法来治愈的，同时治愈率可以超过99%。什么叫做外胚层过敏性疾病呢？就是异位性皮肤炎啊，常见的哈，就是妥瑞啊，注意力不集中，好，过动等等。那么这3种最常见，我们会发现有很多皮肤疹子发作的非常严重者，小朋友很少发现他们有精神神经疾病的。什么叫做外胚层呢？我们来看人在胚胎发育的时候一些情况。这个是妈妈的子宫、卵巢，这个是卵巢、子宫、输卵管、受精在这边发生。这个是精子，这个是卵子，卵子、精子碰到了，其中有一只精子就穿透了卵子，完成这个受精，好，得到冠军的精子。那么慢慢的就变成好这个胚胎，35天是这样，啊，42天变成这样，好，这是在妈妈的子宫里面。在几天的时候呢，就会形成了这种外中内胚层，这个是胚胎。胚胎很小的时候就形成外中内胚层，这个外胚层呢会凹下来，演变成外面是皮肤，里面是神经。我们来看这个我示范的图，这个是外胚层。外胚层呢这样凹下来，外面变成皮肤，里面呢就变成神经管，以后就发展成这个大脑、小脑、中脑、眼脑、脊椎神经。好，这个就是外胚层。所以外胚层凹下来就变成这个神经。所以说一个人如果他的病没有发在皮肤，就发在神经。所以有很多这个皮肤过敏很严重的，反而脑神经没有怎么样。大部分妥瑞症的小朋友过敏的状况都不是很严重。我们来看看一下肠漏、脑漏 （leaky gut syndrome） 跟 leaky brain 是怎么一回事呢？这个是肠胃道，小肠。 里面有很多的黏膜、绒毛。这个小肠里面呢，这个是大的，是食物里面的蛋白质。蛋白质一定要变成氨基酸，才能够跑到我们身体里面，这个是蛋白质要变成氨基酸。如果我们身体有肠漏了，比方说脂肪吃不够啦，抗生素吃太多啦，类固醇吃太多啦，这个细胞膜被破坏了。破坏以后呢，就会产生肠漏，过敏原就会跑过来。正常是这样，这个是这个正常的肠黏膜，这个不正常的话呢，过敏原就跑过来了。跑过来以后呢，我们的免疫系统就会对它产生一种对抗的行为，甚至产生了抗体，把这个抗体呢佩戴在这个 mast cell 肥大细胞上面，就引发了战争。这个前面的是第一型反应，现在这个叫第三型免疫反应。有这种两种免疫反应呢，就是我们对抗外面的这个过敏原的战争。这个是血管，血管里面有红血球，过敏原跑过来以后呢，白血球就追过来了。就好像你家里来了坏人，你跟坏人打了起来，在客厅打，客厅就打坏了；在电脑室打，电脑就打坏了。所以呢，像这一个人，他如果是过敏的话，他也是吃了很多不该吃的东西，然后过敏原就跑到他这个脚部，产生了这个异位性皮肤炎。其实他刚开始的时候是长水泡，我们叫做汗疱疹。汗疱疹也是过敏的一种，经过我们的治疗呢，半年多就变正常了，非常非常的正常。本来是一直流血，一直痒。这个是脑漏，过敏原透过血脑障壁跑过来，跑到脑里面，呢，这个我们的免疫细胞也就进来了，再开始产生一个战争，这个我们叫做巨噬细胞。我们的脑神经被受到破坏，过敏原在里面发生这个战争，跟我们的免疫系统。这个是我们的巨噬细胞，我们叫 macrophage。 它就好像我们的军队一样，军队是不会跑到总统府里面去的，可是呢，今天过敏原跑到脑里面，就好像是坏人跑到总统府里面。这个政报部队呢，军队也跑到总统府里面去了，跟这个坏人打起来乒乒乓乓的打起来，这个流弹呢，就把这些正常的脑细胞都搞受伤了，甚至有些脑细胞会萎缩，会死亡的这个脑细胞也有可能死亡的好，那么刚好妥瑞症的小朋友呢，他们都是跑到这里，我们讲 voluntary motor function， 就是管我们的脑的那个随意肌的脑管身体的这个随意肌的脑，这里的脑细胞呢受伤以后呢，脑细胞就喊救命救命救命，我们讲脑细胞在痒了这个脑细胞在喊救命，放出这个高频的救命脑波13赫兹以上的，这个脑波呢放出来，刚好就是在这边放出来的，在这边放出来的它就是眨眼，这边放出来就吐舌头，这边放出来就声音在这里管这个手脚的，就手脚在抖动这样。所以有些人手脚抖动，也眨眼，也伸舌头，也有发出声音，就是整个脑都在发炎嘛这样知道吗？我们的一个治疗原则就是要提供我们的身体一种细胞的原料，让我们身体的免疫系统呢有能力可以恢复自我疗愈能力，不是用药物，是用一种恢复自我的免疫能力的方式来去治疗。所以我们只要有提供良好的细胞原料，脑神经是可以自己修复的， 我们不要忘记这一点。我们提供的呢，主要就是必需脂肪酸 omega 369让这个失衡的这个身体免疫系统恢复平衡。因为这个细胞膜的这个表面呢，表皮都是2层都是脂肪酸构成的。所以我们来看一下脑神经是怎么样的修复呢？我们的人脑有1500亿个神经细胞，每一个神经细胞都会放电，放电的总和呢，测量出来就是脑波。这个脑神经细胞如果缺氧，脑神经细胞3分钟后就死掉了人也就死亡了。那如果是缺油脂的话，或者是细胞自由基过多过酸，脑神经细胞也会萎缩，没有办法修复。
To understand is that
这个是我们的脑神经细胞。脑神经细胞是1500亿个神经细胞组成的，脑细胞有60%是油脂构成的，尤其是这个脑神经细胞负责传导的，有90%这个垂鞘 myelin 是油。如果我们的油脂吃不够的话呢，就会神经传导异常。神经传导异常，我们正常传导是这样，如果神经细胞膜破损，如果没有原料可以修补的话呢，就会产生疤痕。这个就是很多神经疾病的一个成因。这个是马达线纤，这个是神经细胞，神经细胞也是一条一条的，里面有很多神经这个是我们的人的脑有1500亿个神经细胞，神经细胞自己不会吃东西，它都是靠这个星状细胞，一个手一个嘴巴一个吸盘吸在这个血管上面，由血管吸起这个营养。这个星状细胞附在血管上面，嘴巴开口的地方我们叫做血脑障壁。这个血脑障壁很重要，如果破掉以后呢，过敏原就会由这边跑过来。那么我们这个神经细胞，它就是靠这个星状细胞喂养它的。星状细胞嘴巴开口的地方呢，我们叫做血脑障壁。这个过敏原可以由这边跑进来，如果破坏的话，营养也会由这边跑进来。我们脑神经里面呢，还有一种细胞叫做寡突细胞，它是专门负责修补神经的，就好像我们请来的水电匠帮忙我们修理破坏的这个被破坏的一些设施。这个是微胶细胞，它是一个清洁工，它会帮我们清扫脑神经系统里面的一些脏东西然后把它排到这个淋巴啦这个静脉里面，所以让我们的神经这个本来有肠漏、肺漏、脑漏的修补成，用好的原料修补成没有漏了。有些人以为妥瑞症是遗传性疾病，其实我们只能说它跟父母的体质有关，它不是一种基因遗传。因为我们发现，如果父母有来的话，有来一起来看诊的话，我们会发现父亲或者母亲一方大概有一半的人小朋友，他们的父母亲都有妥瑞症，不管是现在还是小时候。还有就是发现说，小孩如果爸爸有妥瑞症，小孩子长得很像爸爸的那么妥瑞症的可能性就会比较高，这样妈妈也一样。还有就是说，它不见得是遗传，跟体质跟家庭饮食方式很有关。还有父母亲都很喜欢吃甜食的妥瑞症的发生比例好像比较高。还有就是必需脂肪酸缺乏，因为有很多的父母亲都是认为要健康就是要少糖少油少盐，少糖当然对了可是油脂不吃就会百病丛生了所以我们是用油脂好油来治病的。 所以我们认为说妥瑞症它是后天的因素居多，它不是先天的疾病。我们来看一下什么叫先天后天呢？这个是脑胚胎的一个发育的时辰25天的时候脑是这样，胚胎是这样，9个月的时候就成熟了。这个是在子宫里面发生的疾病，我们叫先天疾病。剪断脐带以后呢，发生的疾病我们叫做后天性疾病。妥瑞症我们是把它列为后天的，所以说这个是可以治疗的疾病。如果没有治好呢，很多会变成成人的精神疾病，甚至妥瑞症没有治好，也有可能会蔓延出去，变成其他部位的脑细胞过敏，变成强迫症啊、过动啊、注意力不集中啊、情绪控制不良，甚至引起这个所有综合性的结果，就会变成一种精神疾病的异常。甚至到大人前面讲过，也有可能变成大人精神疾病、神经疾病的比例比较高。
既然已这样，就不要多想。生命无常，要学会原谅，不要失望，我们还有希望。擦掉眼泪，不必忧伤。再长的路，不过脚印两行，折断了翅膀，还有微笑的模样。再黑的夜，总会有太阳。生命的光，让我为你点亮。不要再失望，我们还有希望。擦掉眼泪，不必忧伤。再长的路，不过脚印两行，折断了翅膀，还有微笑的模样。再黑的夜，总会有太阳。生命的光，让我为你点亮。人生在世，难免遇到风浪，挺起胸膛，把那冰雪阻挡。难过的时候，有我为你歌唱。你的世界，我来为你守望。苍天在上，给我们一些力量。
happened is that we are practicing medicine that's a century out of date, basically. While things have moved forward in Silicon Valley and things have moved forward with iPhones, and look at what you can do today that you couldn't do even 10 or 15 years ago, medicine is still being practiced an old-fashioned way where we look for a specific diagnosis.
World, these stresses are 24/7, 365. The net result is illness and disease.
Your immune system is compromised chronically.
What we see here is belief itself shifts biology.
That intelligence giving us life. It is the greatest healer in the world.
These symptoms are brilliantly intelligent in waking us up.
抬头，幸福不见了，找失去的拥抱，温柔的眼眸，想多看一秒，拭干眼泪，看清楚，原来爱没走掉。
Fix your brain, you're going to have to accept a radically new way of thinking about health, one that most doctors today still struggle to understand. It's the idea that everything is connected. This means everything we do, everything we eat and think, how we sleep and live can actually change our brain at any given moment. It can impact your brain through your diet and heal your body. In fact, your body and your mind are not two separate systems. They're one elegant, continuous ecosystem. What you do to the body affects the brain, and what you do to the brain affects the body.
"祝你是卑微，转为尊贵，是伤心流泪，转为笑颜。患难生忍耐，忍耐生老练，老练生盼望，盼望不知羞愧，就没有失望。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光，生命充满亮光。
我是一只平凡的小毛虫，吃了睡醒了吃牛啊牛，爬呀爬，我这么渺小，什么都做不了。
Craniosacral therapy is a gentle hands-on technique or therapeutic approach that is used to loosen abnormal tensions in membranes within the skull. In Mary Ellen's case, the origin of the whole problem was down in her left knee and ankle, and we had to trace it up through the fascial system to her pelvis and up to her spinal column and into her head and finally over into the right temple.
Craniosacral therapy was developed by Dr. John Upger. He was a DO. He actually just passed away a few years ago. He actually started in a lot of the quote unquote mental facilities because these were people that had dropped off their loved ones or they were put into a home, a long-term care situation because their parents or family members couldn't take care of them. And so these people had no hope of getting better other than the medications being used. So he actually went in and treated these patients and kind of used it as a model, if you will. So some of the first patients that were given craniosacral therapy by him were children with autism. So I always found that very fascinating. The craniosacral system is made up of three things: the cranial bones, the cerebrospinal fluid, and the membrane. So those are the things that I would be working on with a patient that was being treated craniosacral. So the autonomic nervous system is made up of your sympathetic, which is your fight or flight. So these are common signs of symptoms of autonomic nervous system dysfunction. So obviously children aren't coming in with some of these, but obviously this isn't a therapy just for children. I do take adult patients, but CST is a really gentle hands-on technique. As you can see, I have my hands on his head and I'm using the very, very tiniest of weight. They say the weight of a nickel, that's the way to determine it, but that is how light of a touch you're using. So your practitioner would place their hands on the cranial bones and monitor the rhythm that we were just talking about. And those locations go all over the head. I usually start in the pelvis and I work my way up to the head. I'm not pushing, I'm not pulling, I'm not forcing. The babies and children should never be in pain. The treatment is really aimed at working on the membranes. Although we're feeling the bones are, like I said, the handles, right? What I'm really trying to get at is that tissue, that membrane tissue, to help improve the flow and exchange of fluids, those fluids being the cerebral spinal fluid. So this is not about realigning cranial bones. That's not what we're doing here. We're not doing osteopathic manipulation. The baby I'm working on this picture was 6 weeks premature. You can see how tiny he is. I mean, mom brought him to me. He was probably right out of the hospital as soon as she could get him to me. Birth process can be a big reason why restrictions exist. So there is so much that can be done in infancy. And I would always tell a parent, get help as soon as you can. The longer you wait, the more time it's going to take to fix the problem. It's never really too late. But if your baby has reflux, this is something that can be alleviated in probably 3 weeks versus keeping them on a medication for 6 months to 12 months. If you have restrictions in these cranial bones from the birthing process, it will stop growth in certain parts of the brain. So there are correlations to development there. So when these are not corrected, lots of things can happen. You can have chronic ear infections. You can have chronic sinus infections. I have kids that have, quote, they've always been congested their whole life. Well, that's usually just a cranial restriction. And then you have it being more serious. Kids with speech delays, kids with problems with writing, listening, comprehension, hearing. Those are all fair game here. So how would you know as a parent that your child is suffering? How do I know I have to call someone? How do I know I have to get help? Feeding problems are a big one. Latching issues, what I call a lazy feeder. So they'll feed for a little while and then they'll just stop, or they'll fall asleep, or they'll start screaming. And that is pain, guys. All that is pain. If their latch is bad, there's bones in the roof of your mouth that can be stuck that you can easily get rid of and have them latching and sucking better. Also, those kids will also have really sensitive gag reflexes. So the reflux actually might be their suck swallow reflex isn't working well. So they're not able to take in the amount of milk being given, whether that's breastfed or bottle fed. And so they'll choke and spit up, and we call that reflux, but it's really not reflux. Abdominal bloating, constipation or diarrhea, darker light intolerance, troubles with sleep, reflux. Tugging their legs up is a big one. These are the kids that are always kind of in a ball. They're never floppy and relaxed like they should be. They'll also fist their hands and pull them in. Parents might have trouble dressing them. So if you're trying to dress the baby or change their diaper or put a shirt on and you just can't get their arms to come out, it's because that is a pain behavior. So it's really something you want to be watching for. Of course, decreased range of motion. They'll turn to the right, or they won't turn to the left, or they'll breastfeed on the right, but they have a really hard time doing it on the left. So we want to make sure that they're breastfeeding equally and on both sides for the same amount of time, because that's an indication that they're uncomfortable. And then, of course, colic. Here are the cranial bones. So the kids, all you'll need to bring to an appointment is like something to distract them. But getting a kid to sit still for 30 minutes is very, very difficult. And often parents will say, I don't know how you get them to sit still for 30 minutes. And the truth is they like it. They know I'm helping. They know it's working. They know they feel better. And I have most of my kids in my practice are nonverbal. CSF, again, I wanted to give you the purpose of it. This is a bigger picture of what I already showed you. But it's really important because it delivers nutrients, oxygen, hormones, neurotransmitters, and it transports waste and toxins away. Kids, I mean, they can walk outside and they're exposed to toxins, but that's on top of the bad eating, the medications, the vaccinations, all the other stuff that they're getting. We need to make sure that they're getting enough nutrients spread throughout their body. So this is really, really important. We just talked about create restrictions. And I always say, what does it feel to a child? The restrictions feel like, I think they feel like pressure, like a headache. I also feel like it's like I'm lighter, like I'm physically lighter when I have it done. It can help with anxiety with children. It can help with sensory processing issues. It helps their body just relieve the things that they don't know how to relieve or cannot relieve on their own. So parents often ask me, well, how do you get these restrictions in the first place? As every kid just born with them? These are the most common ways that I can describe to parents, all no-brainers. The earlier, the better. Obviously, the earlier you get it, the less of less the symptoms you'll see. According to the autism spectrum disorders are related in part to a loss of flexibility and inflammation of the membrane. What we know. So we know that with autism, we have increased levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines. We've got inflammation changes in the cerebral spinal fluid per Johns Hopkins, which did a study on kids with autism. We know that there's restrictive forces on the brain tissue, and that strain that we've talked about, or those restrictions that we've talked about, can help the brain in development. So the reason it's not like craniosacral therapy is going to make a kid who wasn't talking before talk. It's that if my speech centers in the brain are restricted by these restrictions and the cranial bones on top of those speech centers aren't moving correctly, it can help free up the transmissions to work better. This is the color, the nice pretty one that's heavily marked up there. This is how your brain is broken down to what its functions are. Is development impaired? So, like I said, development can be impaired in the portion of the brain that has restrictions. Is it ever too late to get craniosacral? Absolutely not. So here are the benefits. So as far as behavior goes, it's been shown to help with calming and being more relaxed by decreasing that structural strain and putting them into that parasympathetic that we talked about. And when these things are balanced in the tissue, then your brain can move that cerebrospinal fluid around and flush toxins out, which is really desperately needed for any and all of us, let alone children. So obviously it's going to increase those neural pathways, right? Because that tissue is not wrinkled. So all of the nerves that puncture through there are going to puncture through there with no traffic, able to get to exactly where they need to get. And then craniosacral by nature helps the immune system as its natural healing mechanism because it helps flush out toxins and helps open up all lymphatics. So it's fantastic for that. And of course, normalizing the nervous system. Indications for craniosacral. So these are the things as a parent, if you have struggled with or are currently struggling with any of these, you need to get some help. Just know that this may not answer, this is not necessarily going to be the end all be all, right, for a kid with ADD.
再说要尽全力，为人生种种经历留下美好回忆。我感谢每次风雨，给我更多鼓励，让我领悟生命真正意义。我们能改变命运的轨迹，创造值得骄傲的世纪。我相信做好自己，我相信我就是奇迹。我知道我心里会有更大的天地，要相信自己无限极。从梦想遥不可及到跟幸福相遇，我要用我的故事证明我的能力。从前路走不下去，到风光更美丽，让我激发自己无限潜力。我们能改变命运的轨迹，创造值得骄傲的世纪。我相信做好自己，我相信我就是奇迹。我知道我心里会有更大的天地，要相信自己无限极。我相信做好自己，我相信我就是奇迹。我知道我心里会有更大的天地，要相信自己无限极。
心跳。 你是卑微，转为尊贵，是伤心流泪，转为笑颜。患难生忍耐，忍耐生老练，老练生盼望，盼望不知羞愧，就没有失望。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光，生命充满亮光。祝你是卑微，转为尊贵，是伤心流泪，转为笑颜。患难生忍耐，忍耐生老练，老练生盼望，盼望不知羞愧，就没有失望。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光。心中充满盼望，盼望使眼睛明亮。道路虽崎岖，你与我同行。心中充满盼望，盼望使信心刚强。信靠每一句应许，生命充满亮光。生命充满亮光，生命充满亮光。
放得低，誰在意原因？曾歷挫敗，傷感已不需慰問，讓我的將來感激今天的障礙，跌下又再企起。
你拼命逃跑，不斷努力尋找依靠，你怒敲呢個地方實在太過嘈吵 ，so nervous， 太逼，太多嘢被壓抑，你有放棄嘅態度又起飛，一朝一夕向前行，唔好回頭，時間從未停留，光陰不斷流，走到最後，你發現冇人願意為愛留守，再冇人會為你作出最後挽留。
已經受夠，已經覺得無法忍受，來日就好似一個永遠止唔到血嘅傷口，想放棄可以揾到太多藉口，想挽留就只需要一個理由，生命由自己編寫，就算命運偏歪，緊握拳頭到最後唔需要別人施捨，條路越行越斜，就算攀山越野，只要到達頂峰你會發現新嘅視野。曾幾何時我充滿理想鬥志，曾幾何時我感到落魄失意，曾幾何時我覺得自己好似一個被遺棄嘅孤兒，事與願違，好多事都唔受控制，付出所有心血都可以一白費，係諗得太過美麗，係現實太過實際，為生計係咪人生嘅真題？
放得低，誰在意原因？曾歷挫敗，傷感已不需慰問，讓我的將來感激今天的 this one time that we live. The moment comes when we feeling it. Oh, this is our life that we know. This is our shine that we show. There will come a time when we feel winning. Keep up the vibes, let the records keep spinning. Let's make the best of what we have. Don't judge it good or bad, the evolution of one. From the streets to a cozy pad, from the rhymes in my head to dropping them on a track. I'm chilling on big stacks, I'm killing on the music. I made it for my fam so we all could be. Lifestyle so set, my inner child so blessed. So flow with the blue skies, keeping the dreams high.
錯之中能磨練我藐視傷痕，懷着赤誠開闢你的新勝地，願我的將來輸出千噸的快樂，我在為我鼓掌。別人未可以代你掌控人生的升降機，為愛而飛，死心。